What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Good morning, my people. Wednesday, April 30th, 8 a.m. on the dot. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for being a part of the Sliwa show. This could be the final regular season game, or not regular season game, the final game of the 2024-2025 season for the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know. We'll see what happens tonight. Appreciate you guys hanging out. A lot, obviously, to get into today. Looking forward to doing the show with everybody here. Thank you for taking some time this morning to watch the Sliwa show. A couple things. A couple just quick reminders. If you guys don't mind, please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep working on this channel here. I actually have a very good ratio of people who are on the channel that actually end up subscribing. I think better than most channels out there. So I appreciate most of the people are on here probably already subscribed. But if you're not subscribed, if you could take a second to do that, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to give everyone a quick rundown of the show before I do that. Quick quote today: to understand the heart and mind of a person, look not at what he has already achieved, but what he aspires to do. To understand the heart and mind of a person, look not at what he has already achieved, but at what he aspires to do. So good quote right there. If you guys got something you want to share with everybody else, as far as a quote goes, feel free to do so. Let me give everyone just a quick heads up what we're going to be doing for today's show, and we will go from there. Really, really good NBA yesterday. Damn. I don't know if you guys were watching a lot of these NBA games yesterday, but phenomenal games yesterday. All right, quick rundown of the show right here. This beautiful rundown here. Who does all this work for you, Sliwa? Gosh, give that man a raise. Game 5 tonight. Lakers obviously down 3-1. So just kind of what's at stake tonight. Obviously, it is the Lakers season. A little bit on JJ Redick. You know, he became the talking point after Game 4. So we'll talk a little bit about JJ. Play out both scenarios. Lakers force a Game 6. Lakers season ends tonight. What do both of those look like? Kind of what's the next step here based upon what happens in these next 24 hours or so. Really, you could say the next 14 hours or so. Lakers tip off at 7. So by 10, I should be doing the postgame show. I am going to be at the arena tonight, so I will be doing the postgame show from Crypto. Guest, the great Mychal Thompson. Nice enough with his time. He's going to be joining the show. At least that's the plan here. He's going to join at 8:15. And then I want to just kind of look at some of the other NBA games from yesterday. So Denver over the Clippers, phenomenal performance by the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray, what a freaking baller. For all those Laker fans that have, nightmares about Jamal Murray and you feel like it only happens to the Lakers, well, okay, there's a Jamal Murray performance yesterday, 40-plus points. He was phenomenal. We'll look at some of the other games that went on yesterday. I thought Pacers and the Bucks are really good. What's Tyrese Haliburton's dad doing? What happened? What the hell's going on here? Did Tyrese Haliburton's dad go up to Giannis like a fourth grader and basically just I don't know what happened. Who's the adult in the room? Somebody want to tell me who the adult in the room is? Pistons, Knicks, badass game yesterday, and we'll hit a little bit on that. Was there another game? Did I miss one of the games? Oh, the Celtics eliminated the Orlando Magic. So basically there wasn't another game. Got some good NBA games that we'll get into, talk a little bit about that. Some good games coming up tonight as well. Obviously outside of the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do a little Ask Slee and then we're going to call it a day. Today's a busy one. I am going to do a pregame show. My plan is to kind of do what I've done for every playoff game so far, which is do a pregame show from the arena. So we'll get a chance to do that. I think the way I've done it, let me see. I think 4:30 is when I'll do it. I think that's the way I've been doing it. About 2.5 hours before tip-off. That way it gives it has a little bit of time to breathe, so people can watch it, whether they can watch it live or they can't. And then on top of that, then I still got time to go listen to the coaches talk, JJ Redick and Chris Finch before the game starts. All right, my people, thank you very much for being here. And I appreciate you guys hanging out. Let's get to a couple of these comments here. All right, let's effing go Slee. It's game day. Peter is one of the cheerleaders you start this morning. Okay. All right. A lot of positivity coming from some of these chats here. I appreciate that. Good morning to you, Xavier. Good morning. A couple other people here. Can't wait for the show. I appreciate you, brother. I enjoy doing the show. That's it. Lakers in 7. I've been saying this whole time, Lakers in 7. Don't worry about the Lakers in 6 stuff that I had before. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me see. Couple good mornings here. Morning, Slee. Not worried about LeBron. We need Luke on the rest of the squad to show up and want it tonight. Yeah, I could play out a lot of different scenarios of what can happen, and we'll play out both scenarios. But I know what you're talking about tonight, that there's certain players that you just kind of already know are going to do something, other players that you don't think so, or you don't have as much faith in. Let's see what we got here. Bring on the offseason. Lots of changes. Slee, how we feeling about tonight? All right, let's start the show here. Game 5 tonight. I'm gonna play out both scenarios for you guys, but before I do so, let me just kind of set the stage here. Man, I did not think, and if you guys thought this, then God bless you all for playing this out and predicting this series much better than I did. I really, really didn't think we'd be 5 games into this series, and there's an elimination game this early. By the way, if there was going to be an elimination game this early, before the series started, I mean, I would tell you Lakers are up 3-1. I picked Lakers in 6. I would tell you Lakers 3-1 before I thought Minnesota would be 3-1. I did not know that coming into Game 5, a Wednesday night game at Crypto, that the season is on the line for the Lakers. And I think, it kind of sets up an interesting scenario tonight, because how does the team respond? I can actually see kind of both things playing out. And I'll get into both scenarios, but I can see a complete dogfight from the Lakers and trying to send a message. I could also see Minnesota playing loose as hell. They got no pressure on them and coming out in kind of a similar game to Game 1. Yeah, no, guys are hitting shots and everybody understands their role. Their confidence is growing and growing. They got the most critical game already in the books. That was Game 4, at least up to this point in this series. They're going to either the series was going to be tied to a piece or Minnesota's going to go up 3-1. Minnesota obviously grabbed Game 4, so they're up 3-1. What kind of team comes out? A team that thinks they still got a shot in this series, understand that, hey, fourth quarter in these last 2 games, it was close, and it could have gone either way. I mean, Game 3, you can make a case when one team goes on a 13-1 run. I don't know how much of a case I can make for the Lakers, but certainly Lakers could have won Game 4. Or is it a team that comes out that knows it's just a matter of time? Matter of time as in, it's just a matter of time until this series ends. I know Minnesota, I will tell you this, based on how they've played the Lakers so far, they're going for the kill. I mean, that's what good teams do. Good teams understand that when they got you on the ropes, you can't mess around. You can't get too cute. However you go get a W, try to go get a W. And Minnesota has given me no indication that they're not going for the kill tonight in this game against the Lakers. They've been wildly impressive towards the end of games when everybody keeps telling me that Minnesota is awful in clutch time. All I'm seeing is unbelievable clutch moments from a number of players. They've given me no indication that they won't be ready for tonight's game and try to end this series. JJ. I think JJ Redick's a kind of a very interesting topic going into tonight's game. What did most people take out of Game 4? Most people took out of Game 4. One of the biggest storylines that came out was, what was JJ doing? What was his thought process? How come JJ Redick played the same guys for the final 24 minutes of the second half? No other coach has ever done that in playoff history. I've brought this up a couple times. If I get a chance today, I'm going to ask the question to JJ. But I brought up the challenges. Chris Finch had a challenge ready to go, 10 seconds left in the game. The Lakers didn't have a challenge and couldn't, kind of a controversial call that the NBA already admitted was their mistake on Luka Doncic. They didn't have their challenge towards the end of the game. I think there was a few indications in Game 4 of, yep, That's a rookie coach. And as good as JJ Redick has been this season for the Lakers, Game 4 was not a good look for JJ Redick. It just wasn't. I'm a fan of JJ Redick. I'm not sitting here trying to tell everybody that the Lakers should go try to find a new coach, because I wouldn't. I think JJ Redick's going to be the head coach of the Lakers. It seems like they finally got a guy that big picture is going to be with the Lakers for a while. But with all that being said, not his best performance. Let me play out both scenarios here real quick, and then try to time this to where Mychal will join the show as well. Let's say the Lakers win tonight. Back to Minnesota for Game 6 on Friday night. You at least, I don't know if doubt is the right word, but at least you put a little bit of pressure on Minnesota. Can somebody tell me what pressure has been on Minnesota this series? I mean, Lakers, the way they started the series, Game 1 against Minnesota, at home against Crypto, Minnesota jumped out. Minnesota's been in the lead this entire series. There's been no point where Minnesota's felt pressure. There just hasn't. Maybe you could say game tied 103 at Minnesota, series tied 1 apiece. Maybe at that point, Minnesota's feeling a little bit of pressure. Okay, but what did they end up doing? They outscored the Lakers 13-1, and they win 116-104. They didn't feel any pressure. Minnesota has dictated this entire series this entire time. Came out, you guys remember after Game 1 that some of the quotes, yeah, we didn't come out playoff ready. What are you talking about? Playoff started. You didn't come out playoff ready. They came out playoff ready. So Lakers have been, obviously playing from behind the entire time. If they win tonight, can they just put a little bit of pressure on Minnesota? That now Minnesota's got to go back to Minnesota. They're going to go back to Minnesota either way. And now they have to win. They don't have to win, but obviously the pressure is going to be on to not have to go back to LA for a Game 7. By the way, I do think the Lakers can win in Minnesota. I mean, it's not like they're losing by 30 in each one of these games in Minnesota. You give yourself a little bit of a shot. You know that you got LeBron and Luka. Now the question is going to be what other players, show up, but you give yourself a little bit of a shot. All right, that's one scenario if the Lakers find a way to win tonight. What if they lose tonight? Damn, that's how it ends? It's funny. I thought this coming into the playoffs. I thought the only scenario that you can't have happen, you can't lose in the first round. And I understand that this team is not, built to win right now. It's an incomplete roster. We all know that. But they had a phenomenal regular season. They ended up winning 50 games. They end up getting home court in the first round. And if it ends tonight on your home floor in 5 games against the Minnesota Timberwolves, that would be wildly, wildly disappointing. It really would. It's the only scenario that I thought, with how incomplete the roster is and how, when we get to the offseason, the Lakers will obviously try to address their lack of size and everything else. But if it ends tonight, there will be a taste in everybody's mouth. And by the way, maybe, because I've seen some people say this, maybe it's kind of if it ended tonight, then there's kind of this, all right, well, there's no excuses in the offseason. Don't try to kid yourself or pretend that, no, the roster's okay. You only have to make a small tweak here and there. Now, I think it really does send a message of if you can't get out of the first round and it's Minnesota, and this is no disrespect to Minnesota, but you didn't lose against OKC. You didn't lose against the Golden State Warriors. Houston's going to get better this offseason. Denver, obviously, is still a roster that looks good. Clippers have played. They look like they got a decent enough roster that they can hang with any team. San Antonio is going to get better in the offseason just because of health and everything else. I think it does send a little bit of a message of all right, they got a ways to go before they got to make some, I don't know if drastic changes is the right way to put it, but they got a lot of work to do before they can really see themselves as a championship contender. But the offseason could potentially start tonight. It could, that's on the table. I could be sitting here and, like I said, 14 hours from now, we could be doing the post-game show, and we could be very realistically, it could be happening. We could be talking about, all right, what are the Lakers going to do in the offseason? What are the things they need to address? Kind of go from A to Z. That could all be happening. So those are two, obviously, both scenarios that can play out by the time tonight's all said and done. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how the Lakers kind of respond to the scenario, how the Lakers respond to down 3-1. can you put a little bit of pressure on Minnesota and just at least take this back to Minnesota and see what happens in game 6? And like I said, it's not like the Lakers have played awful in Minnesota. They just haven't closed out games. So those are some of the scenarios and some of the topics obviously coming into tonight's game. All right, as promised, we'll take a look at some of these comments. I'll do it a little bit later, but as promised, very nice with his time here. I want to welcome in Mychal Thompson. Good morning, sir.
What are you applauding for? We're down 1-3.
I was applauding you.
Well, if they obviously, I'm failing at my mission because they're not listening to me, so I'm not getting my message across. That's why we're behind 1-3. People always say down 3-1. You're up 3-1, but you're always down 1-3. So what's the proper phrasing of that? You should say we're down 3-1 or we're down 1-3.
I say 3-1, but I think you should say down 1-3.
Yeah, because if it's 3-1,
you're up
3-1.
Yeah, if you're up 3-1.
Yeah, because you never say we're up 1-3. You always say we're down 3-1, so you should be up down 1-3.
Okay, what's going on? Okay, first off, the sweater there, the Bahamas sweater, phenomenal, just phenomenal right there. You got the flag in the background. Look, Cleveland action there in the background as well. That jersey there.
Yeah, that's Mychal, my son Mychal, my oldest son Mychal's Cleveland jersey. He was with the Cavs as an undrafted free agent. He made the team when Byron Scott was the coach with the Cavs. And Mychal made the team, was there for about, October, November, December, three and a half months. Then they waived him and for Manny Harris, a guard out of Michigan, which I thought was unjustified. I thought Mychal was on the bench and playing in spot minutes, but when they did give him some opportunities, he did okay, did well. But the general manager at the time, Chris Grant, who I not think is with Atlanta in some consultation role, was the GM of the Cavs at the time, and he decided to waive Mychal in place of Manny Harris, who didn't stick with the Cavs anyway. So Mychal had his cup of coffee, cappuccino, I guess, in the NBA, and he went to the G League for 3 or 4 years trying to get back, but he never got another call-up. I used to tell him, I say, listen, son, if you want to get a call-up, you got to be noticed. You got to shoot the ball. You got to score a lot, 20 points a game or something like that. That'll get you back up. But he would go back to the G League and play the right way by making
team ball. Sure.
Play team ball. And for some reason, people don't care about that when you're in the G League. They just want to see you put up numbers, even if you are being selfish. So that's why he never got a chance to play in the NBA again, which always frustrated me because Mychal had a lot of talent. He actually was more naturally gifted than Clay was, and Clay is, because he could create off the dribble. He was a bigger jumper. He was more athletic in a lot of ways. And I always thought, I always used to compare him to his game to Grant Hill's. I say, your skills remind me of Grant Hill, but you have to show it more often so the scouts can notice you more. But for some reason, I always thought he unfairly did not get a longer shot at the NBA. But
how about that? How about that, Mychal? The more unselfish he was, the more it hurt him.
Yeah, it did. I told him. Unfortunately, people want to see you go to the basket, dunk on people, take 20 shots, score 20 a game. And when you're playing the right way, like a poorer version of Jokic, making the right pass and playing solid defense, sometimes that doesn't stand out to scouts like it should.
I think your whole team should be – I think your whole family should be investigated. I don't think you could have that many athletes in one family. Oh, I don't – no, I think they need to – the CIA or the FBI, somebody's got to look into your family because you can't just be nonchalantly talking about, I got one son in the major leagues and the other one in the NBA and then one son in the G League like it's nothing. That's incredible.
Well, it's easy to do. Number one, obviously you have to be blessed where your kids have to be healthy. You have to be blessed by God with good health. But the key is to find yourself, get them an athletic mother. That's the key. My mother was a very good athlete, tennis player, tennis champion her time back in the 1920s. That's how long ago this was now. My father, not very athletic. Obviously he wasn't an athlete ever growing up, but my mother's a good tennis player. Look at the Ball boys. Their mother was a basketball player, I think, or volleyball player. Look at the Curry boys. Their mother was a college volleyball player. So I married a excellent athlete. She could do it all.
Volleyball?
All track and field, gymnastics. She did it all. And to this day, she still looks like an athlete. So the key is an athletic mother. And the father is good to have some athletic genes. But I'm telling you, I've seen it happen so many times through the years where the mother is the main athlete and the kids take after her, whether it's a boy or a girl.
You're a humble man. Look at you. You took very little credit in this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was a kid, I could play any sport, whether I played cricket, soccer, softball. Remember, I was growing up in the Bahamas, so we didn't have the athletic facilities like they have in the States back in the 60s and 70s. But when I was growing up, I could do any sport that I chose to play. And I could throw a football like Joe Namath. But of course, we didn't have a football league in high school to play in. So I love football growing up, and if I played football, I would have been a quarterback, and I could, as they say in the NFL, I could spin it, So, but any sport I played, whether it's baseball or softball, I could hit the ball. It just came naturally to me.
I'm very disappointed that yesterday we got to see something after the Pacers beat the Bucks.
What was that?
And
do you mean the scrum on the court?
I'm very disappointed that in all the years Clay won, and I didn't see you ever on the court talking smack to one of the other players and rubbing it in. Can you explain to me what the hell was going on yesterday?
Listen, man, I saw that whole thing, and I don't blame Giannis at all. What was Tyrese Haliburtion?
What was he doing?
What are you doing, man? You're not playing. That was embarrassing. If I had done that, even tried or attempted to do that, Clay would have disowned me as a father. Keep your ass in the stands where you belong. You're the parent. What are you doing on the court?
Oh my
gosh!
God!
To a great Hall of Famer like Giannis Antetokounmpo, where's the respect towards any opponent, whether it's Giannis or the 12th man on the Bucks? It doesn't matter. But especially, you're going to talk smack to Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the greatest players in the history of this game. You don't have that kind of respect and reverence for him. This man just laid it all out on the court, left his heart out there, and you're going to come out there and talk trash like you're in the playground talking to your boys. And that was embarrassing. And I know he's all caught up in the emotion. He's happy for his son, I see it's supposed to be. But show some decorum, show some class. He showed no class last night. That was disappointing to see. Obviously, Tyrese apologized for his father's behavior. But
how about that? The son apologizes for the father.
You're a grown
Isn't the father supposed to be the one sending the message to his son?
You're a grown man. Yes, be happy for Tyrese. Cheer and scream and yell from your seat from the sideline and pump your fists and jump up in the air. But don't go out there and taunt the opponent like that. I mean, that was just so low class. That ticked me off when I saw that. Say, man, obviously you can't hit anybody, but he needed to be tapped upside the head or something.
Right when I saw that. And by the way, I'm watching Inside the NBA after, and Charles and Kenny were basically like, yeah, what the hell was he doing? And Shaq was like, that comes with the territory. I'm like, Shaq, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't understand the angle.
Yeah, I don't understand. Shaq is a good guy, so generous, so kind. But I saw that whole thing and I was like, what are you talking about? That is, no parent is supposed to do that. That is low class. Kenny were right. Ernie was right. I don't know why Shaq was trying to argue the other side, to be contrary, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But no, there's never any justification or reason for parents or family members to get out on the court and taunt the opposition like that. And I don't understand how Shaq could defend that. I mean, I guess he's trying to be cool. Yes, fans do. Some fans probably will do it. Shaq's right. Fans would do it. But family members aren't supposed to do it. But he
went on the court like he was I mean, listen, I'm not watching every Pacers game. Maybe he's on the court every game, but he went on the court as if he dropped 35 points and had 16 rebounds and wanted to let Giannis know that he's the second best player. It made no sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, Shaq is right in the way. Fans, I've seen fans do it. Get out of control. But if you're a family member, no, you got to control yourself and show your opponents more respect, because you don't want to embarrass your son or your family name.
Michael, what was before the series started? I said Lakers in 6. So I clearly felt, and by the way, no disrespect to Minnesota. I thought this would be a tough series, the whole thing. Did you give a prediction before the series started? And B, just kind of how surprised are you that tonight could be potentially the final game of the Lakers season?
Yeah, I made a prediction before the series started. I predicted something that started with the word sleep, or something that started the word deep. Let's see, what else did I predict? I predicted something that started with the word keep.
Oh, man.
I forget what that word is. So.
Maybe you're the problem. Maybe, I saw all the 10 analysts of ESPN that basically said Lakers in 5 or 6. I didn't see any brooms out there. You thought it was going to be that quick of a series, huh?
Yeah, because I thought Lakers would win the first two at home. So that's obviously you had to set it up. So I said, okay, there's no way they're going to come in here with Luka and LeBron and win one of these games in crypto. So that means game 3, the Wolves would have all the pressure to avoid getting swept. So I figured in game 3, all the Lakers got to do is keep the game close in the fourth quarter, and then
which Minnesota, I guess, finding this out here over the last couple of weeks, one of the worst clutch team performances. 5 minutes to go and under, they're one of the worst, and they've been unbelievable against the Lakers.
Yeah, and I thought the Lakers with LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves, you got 3 of the best closers, fourth quarter players in the game. So I figured, boy, if we could just get the first 2 in LA, which I thought we would, go to Minnesota and keep the game close in the fourth quarter, those 3 guys would find a way to pull it out. And then, of course, game 4 would be kind of academic. So I did not see game 1 coming out where the Lakers just came out and got bullied by the Wolves. And that just shocked me. So obviously I was a little bit wrong on something I said was going to be something that rhymed with keep.
Well, okay. So let me, I think it's not talked about enough. I think everybody's looking at, maybe they're paying close attention to game 4, what happened, game 3, what happened. But what you just said about game 1, Mychal, game 1 was kind of that if the Lakers lose this series, how do you start a playoff series where you had a week off? You had a week off to prepare. And a lot of the quotes after the game, we just didn't look like we were ready for the playoffs. I mean, there were some quotes that came out of that game 1. I think we'll look back. Yes, game 4, there's a lot of question marks there. But the way they set the tone to start the playoffs, I agree with you, Mychal. That they kind of the way they set the tone in game 1, I think really kind of dictated why the Lakers are down 3-1 right now.
And I heard those quotes. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're not playing against UCLA or USC here. So Timberwolves is a pretty good team over there, even though I predicted a sweep. What do you mean you're not ready? You weren't ready for game 1? I was like, how is that even possible? Physically or mentally. Physically, you had a week to rest, so you obviously weren't tired. But how do you not be ready for the game in your head and in your heart, knowing that Minnesota's going to come to LA and try to get at least one game, and you're not ready for that? So that is very damning. That's a very damning comment or admission by the Lakers to admit that. I could see if you lose game 1 and you say, man, we gave it all we got. We were so ready to play. We just got outplayed. That happens. But then someone say, well, we weren't ready for the playoffs. I was like, what were you guys doing? You went over to Catalina and just hung out all week and didn't practice?
Yeah, and you dug yourself a hole. So now you're playing from behind all series. That's obviously been happening.
And then they go to Minnesota and they had 2 chances.
I know.
To the home court back, and they just couldn't close. They couldn't find who was there. Mariano Rivera. They couldn't find a closer. They were there. Everybody's criticizing LeBron for taking that 3-point shot, but we've seen LeBron take a lot of questionable threes from 35 feet, but they go in. And when they go in, nobody questions those threes, but they only question it when you miss them.
Okay, let me. Where do I want to go here? Let me. I for doing the pregame show for as long as I was doing the pre with you, there were certain terms that if I said it, you would say, be very careful of what you can't use certain words loosely. If I said superstar, there's only a few of them, right? How many superstars would you say are in the NBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
LeBron, Jokic,
Shea,
Steph.
Shea.
Okay, this is interesting.
Because now he hasn't won it, and I don't know if that's where you pause.
To me, he's a star. So when you say superstar, that means someone who sells out, who's basically box office. A Caitlin Clark, a Michael Jordan, Magic, Bird,
Shohei.
Shea is a star, obviously. Superstar, no, I don't think. But superstar means you are the attraction. Believe me. As good as Shea is, and he's going to be the MVP, you don't see Oklahoma City games on TV that much nationally, right?
Sure.
Because he doesn't have that superstar attraction or makes people tune in to want to watch the way LeBron does and Steph and even Luka.
Can you be a superstar? Can you be a superstar on the court?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's one way he is a superstar on the court because he is the league MVP. but he doesn't have a superstar personality or game the way Kobe had, Jordan, where Shea, and I see him. I'm not being critical of Shea because obviously he's first team All NBA. But like Tim Duncan wasn't a superstar, right? He wasn't like, oh, we got to go watch Tim Duncan play. The Spurs are coming to town, even though we knew how great he was, but he didn't have that. He didn't have that aura around.
Yeah,
that aura around him, like that glow, like Kareem and Magic and Wilt, guys like that era, that ilk. So even though he's obviously a Hall of Famer, star, and all that stuff, so superstar when you're talking about attraction, where that team's coming into town and we got to circle that date. That's the game we have to go to. There's maybe only 5 or 6 guys that got in the league.
Okay, so I think then basically what you're saying is there's the definition of a superstar. You're also taking into account off the court.
Yeah.
If I'm just talking about on the court, and this is why I want to ask you this question. If I told you before this series started, is Anthony Edwards a superstar?
I think he is because he's one of the more explosive players in the game. He'll dunk on you. We've seen him do some incredible stuff. So, yeah, I would put him in the superstar class because when he's playing, I want to watch him. I can't wait when he comes to town because he's so exciting. So, yeah, I'd put him in the superstar category.
I know he's phenomenal. Nobody thought coming into the series that he wasn't going to be great. But I thought what he's done in game 3 and 4, my definition of Anthony Edwards, I feel like he's kind of taken his game to another level. And I didn't know he was not only going to hit a step back 3 in Luka's face with the game tied 103, but then the very next possession, draw 3 guys towards him and find Naz Reid, and it's a perfect pass. And kind of a hockey assist pass to Naz Reid that ends up in Jaden McDaniels. Do you see Anthony Edwards, what he's done so far against the Lakers? Is it better than you thought, or is it exactly what you thought? I think he's been better than at least in games 3 and 4 than I thought, especially clutch time.
No, he's not surprised to me. I was hoping that this didn't happen. With Anthony Edwards, I was hoping he didn't shoot the ball so consistently from the outside, because if he's knocking down his threes and his pull-ups, there's nothing you can do.
How do you stop him?
You can't stop him because he's so good at creating off the dribble, gets into the paint. He's so strong. He's built like a NFL tight end. He's so strong and wiry and so athletic. So I knew the only chance we had with him is he has to be inconsistent with his shooting. If he didn't play this year against the Lakers, where he was 3 of 13 from the field, because you couldn't make an outside shot. That's the only way to stop him. Because if you get up on him in his chest and say, okay, I'm going to challenge him and get up
right by you,
goes right by you, because he's so shifty with his dribble, so good with his ball handling, and he's so strong that he gets you on his hip, and he's so explosive. He just goes through three or four defenders in the paint and gets to the paint, gets to the basket. So the way he was shooting his jump shot in games 3 and 4, once he does that, if he's going to shoot like that tonight, then the Lakers are in trouble.
What did you make of all the other guys? I thought Randall's had a really efficient, effective every game. Nothing that you're starting Sports Center saying Julius Randle, but I think Randall's been phenomenal. Jaden McDaniels might be the best non-star of this series, and he's had a couple games where, hell, if you're putting up 31 points and 11 rebounds, you're having star quality. What have you thought of just some of the depth of Minnesota?
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels, he didn't play well in game 2 when they lost, but in games 3 and 4, he's come up big. And Julius Randle has been playing like he's Julius Irving. So, yeah, he's been consistent. And in game 4, he was the one keeping the Wolves in the game. He was the one damaging the Wolves the most until Anthony Edwards took over late in the 4th quarter. Julius Randle was the one keeping the Wolves around. So he's had a very good series. The Lakers have to find a way to slow down those two guys. And if Anthony Edwards goes and gets 40, because that's what happened in game 2, Randle and McDaniel didn't show up. Daniels didn't show up that much.
Naz Reid didn't do anything game 2
Naz
either.
didn't do anything. Naz had a big game in game 4, of course. So the Lakers got to focus on those 3 guys. We got to take those 3 guys out. I don't care what we have to do it. Make Julius Randle dribble to his right hand more. He's going to go left every time. You got to get up on, don't help out too much and leave McDaniels open for open shots to get him in rhythm. Of course, Naz Reid, you got to know where he is of all time, because if he knocks down 2 or 3 threes, that gets him into a rhythm. And he missed all of his shots in game 2. But you can't count on that happening all the time. So the Laker defenders tonight, They got to say, okay, boys, got to talk amongst themselves, away from the coaches, and say we got to contain Randall, McDaniels, and Reed. If we're going to take this back to Minnesota and bring it back here for Game 7, those three guys have to be neutralized over the next 2 games.
Michael, what do you? And I'm just curious more from a former player perspective. What's the chat amongst the players tonight? You're down 3-1. You lose obviously a critical game 4, which Lakers were in position a couple different times to win that game. They can't get one in Minnesota. What is like? How do you not overwhelm yourself with you got to win 3 in a row? You got to win 3 in a row. What do you think JJ's saying? What do you think happens in the locker room with vets like LeBron and some of these other guys?
We can think about games Friday and Sunday, but they can't. They just got to think about tonight. Just let's win tonight and get on a plane tomorrow to Minneapolis and then see what happens on Friday night. All the pressure will then be on the Wolves to close it out because they don't want to come back here for a Game 7. And, of course, Minnesota will be ready to close it out on Friday once the Lakers win tonight. And I think the Lakers will win tonight for what that matters, since I predicted a sweep. But I think the Lakers will take it back to Minneapolis tonight. And all the pressure's on the Wolves. Let's see how they handle the pressure, knowing that they don't want to come back for a Game 7 in L.A. And maybe they'll play shaky, or maybe they'll choke in the fourth quarter like we did in Games 3 and 4. So the key for the Lakers today is don't think about Friday. Don't think about Sunday. Let's just take care of business tonight. And we'll basically, this is turned into an NCAA tournament for the Lakers now. One game to stay alive. That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah, and for you as well, I know you're not prepared for the offseason. You're expecting June 16th or June, whatever that date is.
I was already, before this series started, I was anticipating, boy, it's going to be fun. I can't wait for that Golden State Lakers series because I knew the Warriors were going to take care of the Rockets with no problem, which they will do even in Houston. But I was anticipating that Laker-Rocket series, man. I think Laker-Warrior thing is how much fun that's going to be with 3 superstars, maybe even 4 with Draymond, the way he promotes himself. With 4 superstars in that 4 superstars in that series, if we could get to it, and then an all-star in Jimmy Butler and a potential all-star in Austin Reeves. I mean, but that would have been a fun series and the most watched series in these NBA playoffs, maybe even more so than the NBA Finals, whoever will be in it, if we could somehow get to the Wolves, to the Warriors and Lakers series. But the Warriors have taken care of their business. Lakers have a lot of business to take care of tonight. Yeah,
I thought the way Golden State's kind of played out their series would be how the Lakers similarly would kind of have that type of result. Okay, one more quick question on the Lakers, and then I want to ask you about a couple of these NBA series that are going on as well. JJ plays all the guys in the second half, doesn't make a substitution, never happened in playoff history. Do you have an issue with that? Do you want to see a little, couple minutes, give Gabe a little bit of run, give Bron a quick breather? What were you hoping for in that? Or what do you make of the chatter about JJ making that decision?
Yeah, I noticed that at the 3-minute mark in the third quarter, LeBron usually is out by then, or on the 4-minute mark. And I told John Ireland during the broadcast, hey, John, I think JJ is going to have these guys play the whole quarter. Matter of fact, I said, I think these guys might play the whole half the way things are going. And they have a lead. Momentum's on their side. And I told Ireland during the broadcast, I think Redick's planning on playing these guys the whole 24 minutes. And Ireland said, you can't do that. You can't do that. They're going to be tired. I said, I don't think so. They look at them. They're not heaving. Their chests aren't heaving up and down. You could always tell when a guy's tired, when he's bent over and he's really breathing hard and grabbing onto his shorts. But the Lakers were breathing through their nose. They
outscored them by 13 in the third.
Yeah, I said, and start of the fourth quarter or end of the third or the start of the fourth quarter, I said, I think he's going to come back with the same 5 and just play this out. The bench wasn't really doing anything when they did get a chance in the first half, but maybe, who knows, maybe Gabe Vincent or Dalton Connect, they got a couple of minutes, maybe they'll knock down a couple of important shots. But like I said, JJ looks like he was going to ride with the 5 in the third and the starters in the second half. And I told Aaron, I'm fine with it. They don't look tired to me. They've got all the momentum on their side. They're not, bent over and huffing and puffing as if they're out of breath. So I think and plus these timeouts are very long. And there's going to be some call reviews to give guys even more timeouts to rest. I said, with all this delays and the stoppages in action, I think they can play another 12 minutes and look fresh. And to me, they did fine. They just didn't make the key shots at the end when they needed to when Minnesota knocked down a couple of shots, a couple of threes to get some momentum back, the Lakers just didn't respond. It wasn't because of tired legs. They just didn't respond.
Yeah, and Minnesota, give them a lot of credit too. Every punch the Lakers threw at the Timberwolves, they had a punch back. You know, I mean, so it's not like this is not, I don't think, one of those games where you thought, and maybe some people would disagree with this. Oh, the Lakers shot themselves in the foot. Minnesota's been phenomenal as well. I mean, every time Minnesota needs to respond, they've responded, and it's not just a predictable. It's one player doing it all. Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels. It's been a few different guys. The one thing I will say that I thought was, Michael, is there a science to when you use your challenge? Do you try to hold on to these? Because I will say that Minnesota, Chris Finch having one left with 10 seconds left, I know it's not talked about a lot, but Luka doesn't get the foul call that the NBA comes back and says he got fouled. That's a 4-point swing because of the challenges. Is there a science to the challenge of holding on to these?
I don't understand coaches will challenge a play in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I said, what are you doing? Especially if
it's questionable.
Yeah, and especially if the game you think is going to be close. I would always hang on to my challenge until late in the game, maybe until the last 2 minutes, especially if I keep looking up and we're up 4 or 5 or down 3 or 4 or 5 points. Now, if you're down 25 or 30, who cares about challenges?
Sure.
If the game is nip and tuck for 40-something minutes, I'm going to hold on to my challenge until late in the fourth quarter, because you know there's going to be some crucial call in a close game that some player's going to go like this. You're so sick of players doing that in the first quarter, and the coach agrees to do it in the first half. I said, what are you doing? Even if you win the challenge, I guess you get one more, but why take a chance if could be a 50-50 call in the first half, and especially if you're down 7 or 8 or up 7 or 8. Who cares? You got plenty of time to make up that score for the next 30 minutes or whatever. So I always question coaches for using challenges before late in the games. You might going to need one, especially if you think the game's going to be close all game.
Yeah, I think the late game of Lakers Timberwolves game 4 is a perfect example. I mean, listen, if something happens in the first half and a guy gets fouled shooting a 3-pointer and it's 3 free throws and it's clear as day, it's not a foul.
Even that. First half, who cares? You can make
but at least, and I get that, but at least you're taking points off the board. The foul that the Lakers had, and I think it was in Austin Reeves, and I think they were trying to see if Austin Reeves got his third foul or not. It was a questionable call to begin with. Like, don't take a chance in that one. Chris Finch having his challenge at the end, that I feel like it's so underappreciated. Him having that challenge for that moment, that situation.
I just wish they would take away the challenges. I'm so sick of seeing
with you.
This home run signal that the umpires usually make. The challenges of call reviews have ruined the game, and they take so long. If you can't figure out the call within 24 seconds of a shot clock, play stands. Let's play on.
Yeah, and by the way, it doesn't have to come from the referees. Just have it all. Just somebody reviews it in Secaucus or wherever and says it's this way or it's that way, and then just keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple. How much are you watching? I know with the travel and everything else, are you watching a lot of these other NBA games? Or
no, I didn't watch Boston Orlando. I figured that was not going to be a competitive series.
Pistons New York is a great series.
Yeah, that's a good series. I've been watching that one. I didn't waste my time with Cleveland and Miami. That was a waste of time.
100%.
And Warriors and Rockets, I've seen some of that. Obviously, I was watching some of the Bucks in Indiana. That was competitive. But, it's a couple of them. Oklahoma, Memphis, didn't waste my time with that. But
Clippers, Denver?
Oh, yeah, Clippers, Denver. Definitely been
good
into
series.
That. But, yeah, that's a good series. And looks like that might go 7. And I'm pulling for Denver because I would like to see David Allenman get that job. He's been an assistant coach, put his time in. Ryan Saunders is my teammates, Flip Saunders' son. And it looks like the players like playing for David Allenman. So I think even if they lose this series, it's the Clippers. But I think they'll win it. I think once they win this series, that'll solidify the job for him.
Yeah, I by the way, I think that anybody who thinks Jamal Murray is only killing the Lakers, hopefully you feel a little bit better yesterday as Jamal Murray drops 40+ on the Clippers yesterday. Yeah, that series is great. I think I thought Houston would hang around more, and my mistake on that one. I thought they'd make it a closer series. I mean, hell, they had a chance to win Game 4. That one kind of played out similar to the Lakers. But should be fun watching the rest of this postseason. Okay, I will see you at Crypto tonight. Get ready for a little Game 5 action. What's your how early do you get there, Michael? How early do you get to the arena?
Well, I go do the Mason and Island show at noon with those guys out all day at the studio across the street from Crypto. So by the time I drive down the ramp in the loading dock, it'll be about around 3:40, and then I go into the Chick Hearn media room, like as you know, and hang out there with Stu Lance and Billy Mack for a little while, and then go up to our broadcast position. Let's see, 7:00 tip, so that means a 5:30 pregame show. So I'll be at my location around 4:40, and I'll put on my headphones, watch some YouTube, some All in the Family, something like that, and until we start the pregame show at 5:30.
Okay, is tonight a in and out night, or for those who don't know, Michael's very strategic with his eating and when it happens and where he goes and everything else.
So on the way home, no, I'm not going to stop the In-N-Out tonight. It's weird at In-N-Out down here in San Juan Capistrano. Sometimes I'll pull into the In-N-Out, I'll see the In-N-Out here, and there won't be any cars in line. At an In-N-Out, sometimes there'll be 10 cars in line. The other night, right across the parking lot from In-N-Out is Taco Bell. So that's where I'm going to stop tonight. Get the nacho fries. Have you ever had the nacho fries?
Years ago. It's been a while.
Whoa. Boy, they have the best fries. When they cook them fresh, not the fries that have been sitting under a heat lamp. Oh, I can't stand that. When they give you a box of fries that's been sitting out for a while and they're not freshly cooked.
Sure.
Oh, and you bite into them and they taste like room temperature. Oh, that drives me crazy. I sometimes just want to throw them back into the drive-thru window. Says, give me some fresh hot fries. So every time I'll stop at Taco Bell tonight. I'm planning on stopping at Taco Bell, get those nacho fries. They're the best fries, folks. I'm telling you, go there and tell them you want to make them fresh. That's the key. I want fresh meat, freshly made nacho fries. And then I'll get 2 Mexican pizzas with no tomatoes because I've already cut up my tomatoes.
Fresh tomatoes at home.
I've already cut them up, and I add those to the Mexican pizza. And then I've also made my guacamole. Already. So I got my guacamole to go for the night. I put in my guacamole a little lime, cilantro, red pepper flakes, a little salt and pepper, and red onion. I make better guacamole than any Mexican.
Listen, tell me how you don't have, first off, how you don't have endorsements for Taco Bell at 710. You should get Mark Cates on that because you just did a 60-second endorsement for them. That's number one. And it came from the heart. And number two, when are you going to start your own brand? Could I help you with this? MT's Guacamole, something along those lines. Can't you just see that on the shelves of Gelson's and a couple of these other places that you usually go to when you go get your food and everything else? How come people cannot buy your guacamole in stores?
Because I don't want to run a business. Being your own boss like you, it's just too much headaches. I want to work for somebody. That way, all I got to do is show up to work and let them pay me, like the Lakers do, Imagine the pressure Jeannie Buss is under having to run the Lakers every day, even though it's a lot of fun, obviously, or to be Tim Harris, my boss.
Okay, but how about you franchise it? How about they're just using your brand, give them the ingredients, and then they run it.
And then I get a percentage, right?
You get a percentage.
Yeah. Maybe now you're onto something, right? So I don't want to go to work and have to deal with employees every day. So that is the right way to do it.
And then maybe your tagline could be, "I make better guacamole than Mexicans."
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No, the Mexico, the best guacamole outside of Mexico. I like that.
That's phenomenal, Michael.
Now, dude, wait a minute, dude. Other Latin American countries like El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica. Let's see what else. Nicaragua. Do they have Belize? Do they have guacamole? They make guacamole. Or is that strictly a Mexican?
No, I'm sure they do, but yeah, I'm sure they do. I gotta imagine that's the chat will tell us. The chat will fill us in. All right, brother. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I'll see you tonight at the game, and hopefully you're. Are you like the players where you're already packing to Minnesota?
Yeah, I already packed because when we went tonight, we got an early flight tomorrow. Okay. So I got probably a 10 a.m. flight like we had last time. Got to be at LAX by 9 o'clock or so. Since I live so far away, 60 miles from the airport, I leave and to beat the traffic of the 405. I'll leave my house tomorrow about 6:51. That way I'll get to LAX and by about 7:10, 7:15, and I can just sit in the parking lot and make sure I'm there early. Because people say, why do you get here so early? I said, I always leave super early in case there's an accident on the 405 on the way up and you got to stop. So I always give myself about an hour window to get to the airport just in case there's an accident.
All right, we're going back to Minnesota. All right, that's now granted, I also said that Lakers would win in 6, and I also said that Lakers would tie the series up to a piece. So maybe my qualifications are out the window, but my hope is that you end up in Minnesota with everybody else.
Well, I'm already packed, so and I got my bottle of wine in my carry-on case, so I'm all set to go.
All right, buddy. We'll see you tonight. Thank you, Michael.
See you later.
All right, man. All right, it's Mychal Thompson right there. That guy's too much. He's too much. I'm trying to help him with his own business. He loves his guacamole. And the way he was talking about Taco Bell, you would have thought this was this family recipe where the food is coming from inside the home. That guy's pretty funny. Good stuff from Michael. By the way, the Lakers sweeping the Minnesota Timberwolves. Damn, the disrespect towards Minnesota. If you felt like there was disrespect from other people, Michael thought Lakers were sweeping them. Granted, I will tell you this, Michael's obviously always very optimistic about the Lakers, so keep that one in mind. All right, let me see some of the comments here. We'll get into some of the comments. Got some NBA stuff I want to get to as well. Let's see what we got here. MT loves them discounts. Mexican pizza. Respect MT. All right, let's see what else we got here. Refs are selling big time. We win tonight. Win in Minnesota by a nail biter. And Game 7 blowout for the Lakers. All right, that's it. We're good to go. Let's see what else we got here. It ain't over. Got a fighting chance. Just win today. I do agree with just win today. That literally is the only, if there's a theme for today, is just win today. Just win today. Del Taco is better. Now there's a debate here. El Pollo Loco all day. I'll do El Pollo Loco. Yeah, I haven't stepped into a Taco Bell. Let's just say it's been a while. I don't know if that is I don't know if that's my go-to place. I think I have some different better locations than Taco Bell out there. All right, got a couple things on the NBA here real quick, and we'll go from there. So last thing I'll say just for this series tonight, you guys could feel free to throw some comments in, and we'll do Ask Slee in a little bit. I'd hold off on some Ask Slee questions. Give me about maybe 5 minutes or so to get through some of the other NBA games and a couple other things I want to talk about. Last thing I'll say about tonight, you know, I think we'll kind of find out a little bit about the Lakers' character tonight as well. Are they fighting like hell to keep this series going, or do they mentally feel like we're not winning 3 games in a row against Minnesota? I don't have the answer for you. You know, I don't really have a question for LeBron. I don't really have a question for Austin Reeves. I don't really have a question for, you know, how bad some of these guys will want it. But are you fighting? And are you fighting for 48 minutes? Are you hoping to get it handed to you? Are you hoping that Minnesota just has a bad shooting night? Are you hoping Minnesota's content with just going back to Minnesota and trying to close out? We'll find out a little bit about the Lakers tonight as well. Okay, a couple other series I want to get into from the NBA. Real quick, I'm going to hit on what Michael was saying. So yesterday, he had 4 games on, which was phenomenal. I was kind of taking care of some stuff yesterday, but I had the games on in the background. So whatever I'm doing, I'm keeping an eye out on the game. I did not watch Bucks and the Pacers through the first 4 quarters. And then I found out the game's in OT, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this game on. And the Bucks absolutely had the game. The game was over. I want to say they were up 6 or 7, and then just awful mistakes by the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, you want to talk about a choke job, and you didn't watch the Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. It is the definition of a choke job. And I was given respect. I'm like, look at Milwaukee. They lose Dame. Obviously, he's out with his Achilles injury, probably out all next season. We'll see what happens. They're down 3-1. Are they walking into Indiana and they're going to steal this game? They were in complete position to do so. Complete choke job. They lose the game. Everything happens so quick. They lose the series. That's it. Season's over. And then you're looking, the camera starts panning in on Giannis. And Giannis is standing there trying to figure out what the hell just happened. How did they just lose the game? Indiana celebrating like crazy. And I see some guy just running his mouth in front of Giannis. I'm like, who is that? I'm like, they just let fans on the court? And Giannis looks like he's trying to keep his cool. And then, obviously from there, he had enough of it. And then as, the broadcast continues, I'm like, oh, God, don't tell me that's Tyrese Haliburton's dad. Please don't tell me that's Tyrese Haliburton's dad. It was Tyrese Haliburton's dad. I don't know what that dude was doing. I don't know what Shaq was trying to justify. But if you want me to just be honest, what an idiot. What an idiot. Your son just won the game. Their team just won the game. Why are you running on the floor? Probably free throw line or 3-point line of the game. I'm talking about running on the floor, not doing it from the sidelines. And running your mouth to Giannis. Giannis had a long, after the game, he spent a lot of time talking about it. And he had just said, like, hey, if you're going to win, can you be humble about it? You usually have that conversation about players. Tyrese Haliburton's dad thought, I'm going to go on the floor and run my mouth to Giannis. What are you talking about? What are you doing? I just thought he looked like a complete fool. I don't think there's any justification for it. I do like how Tyrese Haliburton said that, he was not happy about it, or he said that his dad was in the wrong. I think something along those lines. But that might be, by the way, Giannis's last game as a Milwaukee Buck. Don't be surprised that if his career is done with the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, I know, listen, Laker fans know this. In a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, Giannis and Luka's going to need a big. And whatever the future looks like for the Lakers, you want your 2 max contracts to go to a guy like Luka and a guy like Giannis. And I'm not telling you that's going to happen, but in a perfect world, in a dream world for the Lakers, that's the type of, duo that they build, and that's the type of team they build. We'll see what eventually happens, but that's my takeaway from the Pacers-Bucks series. Tyrese Haliburton's dad, sit your ass down. What are you doing? All right, a couple other games. They had 4 games on yesterday. One of the games, I don't know if you guys are attached to this series like I am. Can I tell you guys something? I love watching the Pistons play basketball. I don't know squat about the Detroit Pistons. A couple times seeing them in the regular season, it's like, okay, Cade Cunningham is a stud. They got some, obviously some veterans on that team, Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. But they got some solid young pieces as well. They go into MSG down 3-1 after getting screwed in game 4. Series should have been tied 2 apiece. They go into New York and grab game 5. That's a big-time win. JB Bickerstaff and everybody there in Detroit's doing a phenomenal job with that team. We know that how bad that franchise has been over the years. When I think Pistons during my generation growing up, I'm thinking of the Detroit Pistons with Ben Wallace and Richard Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace. That's who I'm thinking of when I think of the Detroit Pistons. They really haven't been good since then. And here they are now making some real noise, and shout out to them. They're taking it back to Detroit. I already found that's my Eastern Conference team. There's one team that I'm rooting for that I'm looking at. I love watching the Detroit Pistons play ball. They got some fight in them, and it's fun watching them play. And Cade Cunningham is a complete stud. Okay, that was the other game I watched. And then last night, the late game, the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. I picked Nuggets in 7 in that series. I still think that's going to go 7, but how good is Jamal Murray when Jamal Murray is going? 40-plus points, 43 maybe yesterday. When he's cooking like he was yesterday, and it makes a lot of Laker fans kind of think of the last couple of years where it felt like Jamal Murray always saved his best games against the Lakers. Well, he did it yesterday against the Clippers. That's been a phenomenal series. If they end up winning the series, it literally is just because Aaron Gordon dunked the ball off an air ball from Nikola Jokic and ended up obviously finding a way to tip it in before the buzzer, which tied the series at 2 apiece. I thought, Charles Barkley was saying something before the game that Denver had to win yesterday's game. They did. And is this just same old story for the Clippers? Are they going to find themselves out in the first round again? We'll see. I still think they probably win in their next game against Denver, and then it goes to Game 7, and it could go either way. But they were wildly impressive yesterday. Everybody was clicking. Russ was clicking. Jamal Murray was balling out. Jokic actually had a quieter game, but still got a triple-double. We'll see what happens in Game 7. But that series has been phenomenal. There are some games tonight other than the Lakers, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But let me throw this out to everybody. Every Wednesday we do Ask Slee. You got a couple random questions that you want to ask me. I don't really even care what they're about. Feel free to throw it in the chat, and I will read a couple of Ask Slees, and then we're going to call it a day. I will be doing a pregame show, a live pregame at 4:30 from the arena. That's my plan for tonight. And then, of course, I'll be doing a postgame show as well. If you got some Ask Slees, throw them in. Games tonight. What do we have tonight? How many games? Oh, that's right. They got to space these out. Warriors, Rockets. That's right. They're now one day off in between. Lakers will start one day off now. Warriors, Rockets at 4:30. Wow, early game. Warriors, Rockets, 4:30. That never happens. Usually they like to pair up 2 Eastern Conference teams with a West Coast team, but that's not going to be the case. So Warriors, Rockets at 4:30. Rockets blew the series. The Rockets blew their chance in this series by losing game 4. So Warriors up 3-1. We'll see what happens tonight. But Warriors look like they're in complete control. Jimmy Butler, we know what he did. And then 7 o'clock, Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So something to keep in mind in regards to that. Okay, let me look at a couple of the comments here. Let's see what we got here. What happened to Kawhi after his 39-point game? He's average at best, yet everybody was putting him top 5. What do you have yesterday? I know he was quiet yesterday. I know that. But he's had a good series against he's had a good series. And I think for, him and probably for anybody just who appreciates the NBA, you just want to see Kawhi Leonard healthy. He had 29 and 11. What do you mean what happened to Kawhi? In his bad game, he had 29 and 11. The problem was he wasn't aggressive enough. He only took 15 shots, struggled from the free throw line, but 29 and 11. Nothing happened to Kawhi. I mean, you go look at the game before that. Let me see if they highlight this. Here's Kawhi in this series. He had 29 and 11 yesterday, 24 and 9 in the game before, 21, 11, and 6 in game 3, I want to say, 39 and 5 in game 2, I think it was, and 22 and 6. He's been fine. He did have one game where I know he had 7 turnovers. Let's get a couple more here. Slee, what's your go-to donuts? How many do you have? Okay, I'm not a huge sweets person. Okay, we're gonna do some Ask Slees here real quick. Okay. I probably go two different types of donuts I like, but I'm gonna, and again, I'm not the biggest sweets guy. By the way, we already had this conversation about a week ago. Some of the donuts out there are absurd. Anybody charging $5 or $6 for a donut? Come on. What are we doing here? I like a traditional glazed donut. Traditional. The twists or just your traditional glazed donut with a cup of coffee, that to me is like the greatest thing ever. Or if I'm going to have it filled with something, I would do like a jelly filled strawberry, one of those like jelly filled donuts, but still traditional glaze is what I like. That's my go-to. I don't really care for chocolate donuts. I'll eat them. I just don't really care for them. How many do I have? I'm having one. I mean, I can't. I'm just not a huge sweets guy. Now, if it's more savory, I could eat all day. What do you use to shave your head? Bic razor, buzz clippers, knife. I use a knife. I use one of those. What is it? Skull Shaver, I think is the brand. Kind of put that thing here and you just sit there like this and just make it happen. Keeps all the hair. It's good. I'm a fan of it. All right, let's see here. Traditional burrito or California burrito? California burrito. You guys know what a California burrito is? So California burrito is a carne asada burrito. They put sour cream in it. I don't want sour cream in mine. It's a carne asada burrito with guacamole, pico de gallo, and French fries. Get those potatoes in there. Yeah, that to me is again. I don't put sour cream. You can put cheese in there as well. A lot of times I'll get cheese in it. I'll go California burrito. Slee, In-N-Out or Shake Shack? In-N-Out, I don't even think it's close. To be honest with you, I don't even know what this conversation is. I don't even think it's close. In-N-Out, like, isn't In-N-Out just? Has In-N-Out ever failed you? It's never failed me. In-N-Out has never failed me. Every time I've gone to In-N-Out, it comes through. Every single time. All right, Felix Esley, what's your Thai food go-to spot? What are these places? There's a few places in Pasadena that I like. I'm trying to think of the names of them. I can't remember the names right off the top. And they're small little spots. Like, I want to make sure I get the names right. Janjira Thai Bistro, 9 and 9 Thai Kitchen. Those are the two that I've kind of gone back and forth. Did I ever tell you guys a story? I got a quick story for everybody. Man, I hope I could tell this story properly and give it its justice. By the way, for those who've been on the channel for a while, story time with Sliwa. Remember when I used to do story? If I had a story, and then I would tell one story, and everybody's like, Sliwa, tell a story every. I'm like, well, I don't have a story every time. I'll tell you guys a quick story. I've told this story on air before as well, when I was back doing the days with Travis, doing the Travis and Sliwa show. Okay, quick story about a Thai food place. There was a time I never use Uber Eats or DoorDash or any of that. I just don't. I don't really see a reason in it. If I need to go pick up food, I just go pick up food. One time I used it. I think it was like literally the first time I had signed up for the app. It's a couple years ago. And let's just say I might have had a couple of different things. Okay. That's why I was using it. Maybe I was under the influence, if you want to call it. So I was picking between two different Thai restaurants. And when I was putting the addresses in to the app, I found a way to put one of the Thai restaurants that I ordered from. And instead of delivering it to the address here in Pasadena, I accidentally put the other Thai restaurant's address into the app. So a driver went to one Thai restaurant, picked up Thai food, and dropped off that Thai food about 4 or 5 blocks down the road to another Thai restaurant. I ordered from one Thai restaurant and had that Thai food delivered to another Thai restaurant. Do you know how much confusion there was amongst the two Thai restaurants? Nobody knew what was going on. And I'm sitting here like, where's my food? Where's my food? The girl's like, do you know the address that you put down? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, yeah, I put this address. She's like, no, you put a different address. So then we had to drive to another Thai restaurant to pick up the Thai food that was delivered from another Thai restaurant. I don't know what you guys want me to tell you. That's a real story. That really happened. I'm the only person in the history of Thai that's ever ordered Thai food and had one Thai food drop it up there. I think I started like a war between these two Thai restaurants. I thought they were I thought they're probably saying to themselves, is that Thai restaurant trying to send us a message? I still to this day can't put the pieces together, but I know that happened. How I was feeling that night, it's none of your business. How that happened, how my brain thought that that's the right thing to do. It's a real story. I mean, if you guys want me to be honest with you guys, that is a real story. Maybe more than that. Maybe not just that. All right, let's keep going off this one. All right, let's see what he has here. Real story. That's real thing. What music artist stays on your place? That's easy. You guys has Bob Marley ever came on and you're like, no, I'm good on that. No, it's Bob Marley. I don't think I can answer any more questions. I think I got to just end the show off of that. I think the fact that I was able to tell that story about the delivery, I think that kind of says it all right there. I think that kind of says it all. You know the worst part about it? The last thing that I'll say on this. The person who picked up the delivery and dropped it off to the other Thai restaurant, that Thai restaurant was closed. They had closed. By that point, they had closed. And he just left the Thai food on a bench outside. Oh, Jesus. Nice job, Slee. Nice job, Slee. All right, my people, thank you. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Fun show today. That's pretty fun. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago. Actually, no, it was just a couple of years ago, but I haven't told that story in a long time. All right, my people, I'll be back tonight. Be ready to go from crypto.com arena. Thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you to Mychal Thompson for joining the show. Phenomenal having him be a part of the broadcast. And we'll see if the Lakers can extend this thing to Game 6. All right, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and we will see you guys a little bit later, 4:30 tonight. If you guys want a preview video, that's happening right now. Sammy put something out a little bit earlier as well, so please take a look at that. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys about 4:30 tonight.